All right, and good morning, or I guess now good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us again for another ATS University session. This is a series of webinars that we've been doing over the last couple of years, where we focus on an application and then do some deep dive into the products that align with it. Whether that is a manufacturer-specific program, where they are, like last week we were discussing commercial electrics and how it applies to various applications, how you can size it. To get the right water heater for all your projects. And there was a bit of a focus on the electrics because that's become very popular in multifamily. And most of this month has been focused on multifamily in the condo application. We're ending the month with a focus on the application as a whole, how you can find those products on the ATS spec tool, as well as introducing or continuing the introduction of various ATS templates, which are in essence the ATS masters. You may have your own specific firm master, and we'll show you how you can store that on the ATS spec system. But we have our own ATS masters, which are application-based recommendations of product for various applications in good, better, best. And we'll show you how you can utilize those to either build your own master or build a project straight from there. With me today is Rebecca, joining me once again for another deep dive into our software and into the tips and tricks of navigating and selecting the right products. She's the director of our customer experience, takes all the lovely feedback that we get from the engineers that are using our system all the time, and works with our development team to launch new tools like the ATS templates. So thanks for joining us, Rebecca.
Thanks for having me, Zach.
And myself, in case this is your first time, I'm the National Market Development Manager. I cover Canada as well as part of the US and manage our market development team. The MD team is available to assist your firm in getting set up on the system. So we will do either firm-specific lunch and learns, whether it's something like this where you have an application you're working on frequently, you want a generic overview, or a specific deep dive into particular products. We can set up those lunch and learns. We do one-on-one demos as you're getting started on the system. So if it's your first couple of times building a project, we'll be reaching out, offering an assistance, seeing if there's anything else that you can use on the project. Or if you are looking for, getting your firm set up with a whole list of the individuals, you have a number of EITs that have joined, you need to get them set up on the tool, or you need to get your masters set up on the tool. That's where our team comes in. We're happy to help with anything along those lines. As with all of our ATS University sessions, this is going to be recorded. I'll show you how you can find the previously recorded ATS webinars. And as with all of our other ones, we will also be sending out a certificate of attendance. Typically goes out on Friday. Your MD person will be reaching out and sending a certificate of attendance. If you've not received them in the past, feel free to reach out to me directly. My email is in the name there, zach@atsspec.com, and we'll make sure you're taken care of. With that all said, I think that's all the housekeeping I got to take care of. So I'll pass it over to you, Rebecca, to dive into designing for multifamily residential.
Thanks, Zach. And thank you again for everybody who's joining us. This is an open session, so please, if you have questions, feel free to type them in the chat. Zach and I will take a look at them, and we'll try to answer them as we go. If not, we'll send you a note afterwards to deep dive on anything that you might have questions about. In terms of our agenda today, we'll keep it light. We're just going to go into level setting everybody what we mean by multifamily residential, some of the design considerations that we've seen you architects, builders are taking when they're looking at multifamily design. And then we'll deep dive into the in-suite products. So whether it's the bathroom, whether it's the kitchen, and then we'll look at really some of the shared spaces, some of the amenities, and some of the changes that we're seeing, especially in some of the more high traffic, bigger cities. I think multifamily design has definitely changed over the years. The more metropolitan area, that's what I was looking for. They've really changed, and we want to make sure that we're keeping you up to speed of things people are looking for, the different products that are in the market that fit these new market needs, and then just again, how ATS can help. So about multifamily, so when we think about multifamily residential, we're really talking about spaces where there are lots of different people who live in a small confined space that are free, because I realize that can mean something very different. So what we're talking about is we're talking about apartments, we're talking about condos, sometimes townhouses and duplexes. Zach, I know you liked my joke. Student housing. So really, when we're looking at these multifamily spaces, we're looking at not just the individual's space where they're living, but we're also looking at those shared spaces. Well, there's also been a lot of conversation lately about connected solutions and how can you make the maintenance of these multifamily buildings a little bit easier. Um, and so in this next half an hour or so, we'll go through what you should be looking at, what you should be considering, and some of the new products that are out in the market. So from a design consideration, I think the very first one is space. These towers tend to be very big and they're trying to fit as many people as possible. So we are looking at making sure that while it might be a smaller space, the individual has everything that they need. That there's, their bathroom, their wash area. So spacing is very important. Next, it says privacy, but really I think about this more as making sure that all of the noise is enclosed in that unit. So making sure every single product that you are using is soundproofing the area so that there's a faucet, there's anything that's going on in one unit cannot be heard in the other. Accessibility, but accessibility should be in any building, not just multifamily. And like I said, shared amenities. Before, I think shared amenities was just a party room. If you look at multifamily design 30 years ago, now we're talking bowling alleys, we're talking dog wash areas, we're talking high-end gyms, spas, saunas. So there's a lot of different consideration on what mechanical equipment you even need for spaces like this. Storage, again, especially when we're talking about the metropolitan areas, the units tend to be a lot smaller in square footage. So trying to lessen the footprint of your washroom so that there is more space so that you can create more storage has become more of a consideration over the last few decades. Sustainability, again, I think that's kind of the norm for most buildings now is while they may not want to be considered a green building, they do want to lessen their footprint on the environment and trying to make greener decisions whenever possible. And then aesthetics and design, trying to really be eye-catching. There's so many units out in the market. Builders want to be able to show something that stands them apart from the rest. So we have seen, as of late, a really keen look for design, like special finishes being used in multifamily that was something that never happened even 10 years ago. So with that, I think we'll get started, and I'm going to send this off to Zach to talk about what is going on in the multifamily bathrooms.
Thank you. And I'll kind of, I guess I'll case this whole discussion, the fact that there's going to be a ton of options that you could review for just about all of the fixtures that we're discussing today. I'm going to cover some of the important details, but of course there's deeper dives that are available both within our previously recorded sessions, and if you want to have a conversation specifically for your upcoming project, I can have a deeper dive on any of the fixtures that we're going to be covering today. So in terms of toilets, starting in the the bathroom of a in-suite, so the in-suite bathroom, we've got a couple options that we're showing here. I will say, in general, the push to low flow has occurred. The low flow used to mean a 1.6 or 6 liters per flush toilet, but these days our standard flow is getting down to the 4.8 or the 1.28 gallons per flush. With that, there's been some changes to the products to make sure that they are efficiently meeting the commercial standards for flushing, making sure they have over a 600 gram MAP test rating. And most of the toilets from American Standard or the Lixil family of companies, including Grohe and DXV, are going to be up towards that 800, 1000 gram MAP test rating. And if you want a deeper dive on that, we had a great discussion a few weeks ago really focusing on efficient design and these low flow products that have come out in the market from Lixil, and we'll link that later in the conversation, show you how you can find that. But a couple of products we wanted to highlight is the Vormax and then the Growy Essence. And you can kind of see, there's a big trend towards more sleek design. And this is still with two-piece toilets. So even though the bottom one is that, kind of fancier, higher end looking product, it still meets the low flow for Cal Green, has a nice concealed trapway, elongated bowl. Now, this one does come with a matching toilet seat, so that's something to consider. Compared to your Vormax, where it's a standard elongated bowl, which we are seeing more elongated bowls in the market for multifamily, although this is also available with a round front bowl, should you choose that to save space. In order to meet the low flow and even exceed it, the Vormax is also available in what we call the ultra high efficiency, the UHET, of a 1.1 gallon per flush or 4.2 liters. They do this by completely redesigning the toilet. The way the product flushes, there's two flappers inside the tank. They've had to ensure that you are minimizing friction loss from all the supply to the bowl. So you have two different jets that are going, one to the clean curve rim design, so that you're having an effective scour still, and the other is going directly to the siphon jet to ensure that you're getting a solid removal of debris at the start of the flush and starting that siphon jet pull through. So meeting these ultra high efficiencies required a complete redesign of how they flush the toilet. To me, I still think the Vormax looks great. To the point that I've even put it in my place. I think it's fantastic. It flushes reliably. It's got a great scour, and scour is one of the things that is important to consider, as people have been, sure, you can flush the toilet, but does it flush it well? And that's one thing American Standard has, in the Lixil family of companies, has really focused on, ensuring that they are meeting these ultra low flow flush volumes while having a reliable flushing product. Now, again, we're going to be talking good, better, best through a lot of these. So your Vormax might be your entry. And then if they want to see an upgraded aesthetic option, then you can go with the concealed trap two-piece Essence from Growy. Next, moving into our seats. In a multifamily residential area, especially in the in-suites, we're going to be looking at a closed front seat. That's one thing that can often get missed as you're transferring. Maybe you do a lot more commercial public use areas. You're used to putting the elongated open front toilet seat. So switching your specs up to make sure you have the closed front is an important option. You also do find this is where some people are looking for savings. They may not necessarily want to end up for self-sustaining models or stainless steel check hinges and posts that's going to have a more reliable, robust seat that's going to last longer. Personally, I think Centalco makes a great product. Their Fasten Lock is a fantastic locking system that's going to minimize the number of callbacks from plumbers. But again, if you're looking for a more budget-focused seat, you might sacrifice those and just go with the basic entry-level model. This is still going to be commercial grade. It's going to be fireproof. It's going to be a quality product for the application, but there's steps that you can go up. One thing we are being asked more and more often these days is for the bidet seat integration, and this may be maybe just for your penthouse areas where you're looking at a higher end option, and that's where the Advanced Clean Spalet from American Standard is a great option. They've got a whole range of these, from the entry level product that's just going to have the wand shootout for the cleaning, and a little dryer, all the way up to heated seats with a remote control. I think one might even have Bluetooth in it, where you can have a speaker coming out. Who knows? All sorts of options as you get to the higher end of the offering. But your base model is going to be still a quality product with a good close, secure installation, which is important. One thing to keep in mind, if you are going to some of these Spalet seats, whether this is from American Standard or others, you need to consider your electrical connection. A lot of them do require a power connection. So having an outlet nearby is important for your layout. Moving past the toilets into our shower area, again, this is where you've got a ton of options. That's going to really come down to what sort of look and finish you are going for. Are you looking for more classic rounded? Are you looking for a range head like we see at the top right, where you have an elongated shower arm and a more vertical stream of flow? Or are you coming off the wall with your typical flange like we see in the bottom picture? Again, you have some shower heads with Bluetooth installation, so you're gonna have a speaker built into it. Are you looking for a tub or is it a shower only? Because that's going to determine your components. One thing that's great with the American Standard product line is that the trim is very interchangeable while your valve remains consistent. So that RU101, and we've included the SS for service stops, which allows for a quick shutoff should there be any need for maintenance. That rough-in valve is going to remain the same, and then the trim can be, pieced together so you could have the top shower head with the bottom trim. It's very interchangeable, very cookie cutter, so that you can have consistency of installation and customization of the finishing items. There's a lot more finishes available as well. We're showing the chrome and the brushed nickel here, but there's the matte black trim. There's some oil rub bronze trims, wide variety of options. And again, to me, the important part is the consistency of the valve plus trim package. Another piece I'll highlight on the valve itself, you can see that gray piece on the front. That is, in essence, an ability to install the valve and pressure test your lines before putting on the trim. So they're sold separately. You can install the valve first, put the closure plug in, test your pressures, and then come in and do your finishing items. We do recommend the service stops because, again, that's going to allow for easier maintenance, especially as you're looking at hundreds of these condos. You want to be able to shut off the water and service the valve right there. There's, again, a variety of connections. So if you're doing a PEX in-suite distribution of their water, then you can have a PEX connection set up for this, as well, even with the vertical, you can have a quick 90 to ease installation as well. One thing I'll highlight just before moving on, the aspirations line that we're showing at the bottom. This is a brand new launched line of products. Again, we're showing the 1.8 GPM, but there are 1.5 GPMs available in other lines. But the aspirations is a new shower trim line and new faucet line as well, a whole suite of products available. I believe we'll be having a training session coming out in the near future that's going to cover that in more detail. But a nice kind of in between of strong lines and rounded finishes. Again, wide variety of different finish options available, including the matte black. So great new product that looks nice and functional. Onto the shower. So one thing that we, again, have to discuss early on in the project is, how you are servicing the wash up area. Is it going to be a tub or a shower floor? If you are doing showers area only, are you doing built on site or a actual shower base? We recommend the shower base as it's more durable. It resists stains and it resists impact better, as well as preventing, or at least better than some of the cracks that can be found with built on site tiled floors. Resist bacteria, has fewer areas for bacteria and fungi to build up. They have a variety of sizes available, from the 38 by 38 all the way up to your 60 by 36, I believe, to comply with barrier-free in Canada as well as the US. When it's important with the shower floors as well, is that they do have a smooth matte surface. This is just enough friction that it's a slip-resistant surface to meet your ADA guidelines. That same slip resistant surface is available through a wide range of tubs as well. So if you are looking more for the tub itself, the Studio 60 by 30 is a great option, available left or right, so you can order as you go. 60 by 30 is kind of our standard sizing these days. It's more on the small side. They do have larger versions available, but then you're going to have to make sure that you are, if you're taking space for a tub, then you're losing space elsewhere. So that space design is always going to be important. This is kind of the smallest that's available. Minimalist look with an integral apron front. So that's going to, again, improve installation. This is an acrylic with fiberglass reinforcement, so it's very durable, handles impact well, and still has that matte slip resistant surface. Moving along from finishing your shower, now you're going to your sink area, and we've got a couple of basins here that we're highlighting. And again, this is where you're going to have a ton of options. For your undermount, we're showing an oval, you have circles, you have squares, you have rectangles, there's tons of options. If you need it to be barrier free, then you are going to limit those options a little bit to ensure that you're still meeting the minimum depth. However, the one that we're showing here would comply. It's 4 7/8 deep, so it's going to fit within the, just about any of the angled drop barrier-free installations across North America. This is a fire clay, so it's got a nice white finish. It can actually be used as both a drop-in or an undermount, so very universal design, and available with overflow. One thing you'll see when we get to the faucets, quite often we're going to be including a pop-up drain assembly. So having an overflow is important in those situations. With an undermount sink or using this as a drop-in, what's nice is that your faucet coordination is made a little bit easier. You could use a 8-inch center set, a 4-inch center set, a single hole only, whatever type of faucet you want, you can use in this type of situation. Whereas when you're doing something like the one shown on the bottom, where you are selecting your center set, it's great because it has a, consistent look across the lab. It almost looks like an integral counter, which is in essence what it is. But you are selecting your hole punching, which means that you have to make sure you're matching the faucet. And that's going to be easy on the ATS spec system because our rule-based engine coordinates all that for you. So as you select your 8-inch center set, you're only going to see 8-inch center set faucets. A couple other features on the Studio S. This is not going to be fire clay, but they do have a white finish here. The dimensions, important to know, a standard 20-inch width. So it's going to fit most vanities and would fit on top of your pull-out vanity or anything like that. The bowl itself, 6-inch high again. So you're getting a little bit more depth, which is going to assist with splashing and allow the ability to kind of fill it up if needed. And again, front overflow to prevent any sort of leak options. And we'll cover leaks in a little bit more detail later. It's my tease for you, Rebecca. Onto the faucets, like I mentioned. So you can see we're coordinating, last image with this one. On the bottom, we've got that 8-inch center set faucet that would go with the 8-inch center set hole punching. This is the Atrio, very common design with a lot of, again, the Lixo family of companies and growing in this line. They are similar to the shower, allowing a lot of personalization with standardization. So the handles that we're looking at there, those are very interchangeable. There's, I believe, a crosshatch design. There's a wider blade design. They even have like a post type design. So the handles are configurable to match your aesthetic while keeping the valve components uniform. So it makes servicing easier, that makes installation easier, but still allows some customization, both in terms of the handles and the finishes. This is a 1.2 GPM flow rate. This is following the lead and well standards. So one thing that we'll notice with the flow rate for well certification is it does require a certain amount of flow still. We're quite often asked, can I meet this standard and still get my 0.5? and it's simply incongruent thought. For these private labs, your design point for LEED is 1.5, so a 1.2 is still providing savings. And this is providing savings while meeting the design standard of an adequate wash. So that's an important thing to consider. Growy is using the Silk Move ceramic cartridge, whereas American Standard is using their, I believe they actually might have been the company that created ceramic disc cartridge. So they've had their Smooth Flow ceramic disc cartridge for decades now. Again, the Studio is going to be a 1.2 GPM, meeting the different standards for both LEED and WELL. This is a single handle lav. I personally really like this faucet. I just think it looks very nice while being robust and easy to clean. Kind of looks new age and spacey to me. Like, I think it's a fantastic looking faucet, but architects are generally not coming to me for my design. I guess Rebecca would probably agree with that. Again, variety of finishes available here, and it's just a high quality, robust, budget conscious faucet. Finishing off, we're going to have to, if we've gone through selecting, our clean lines on our toilets, our new high-end aesthetic showers, and matching that look all the way through our faucets and our labs, we're going to want to continue that with our accessories. And there's a series of accessories from our Growy or our American Standard or our DXV line that's going to match the finishes that you've gone through on all your other fixtures. So here we're looking at our grab bar and our toilet tissue dispensers. And again, these are going to be on the private side, and we'll show you later on what the public universal bathroom options would be as well. Finishing off, once you've finished off your bathroom area, the other piece with the water in the suite area is going to be our sink side. And sinks are moving beyond, the model numbers that I've got memorized in my head because they've been used for the last decade and a half consistently on projects. We've got a wide range of new products available on the sink side. It's pretty exciting to see the development that's coming there. So Franke has launched, they've got their PSX line and the Peak series that we're highlighting here. These are newer launch products that still have the Franke name and quality behind them. So you're still getting, quality stainless steel manufactured in North America with a, leading edge installation method. I don't know if you haven't seen the Franke Quick Connect your Easy Connect installation videos, we can send that out to you. It's very impressive what they went through to make installation easier for plumbers. But you're also getting improved sound deadening. Rebecca was talking earlier about making sure that the sound is isolated to your space, and your sink is a big part of that. When you are looking at more, we'll say, budget focused versus value focused sinks, one of the pieces that will be sacrificed will often be the sound deadening. It may just be something that's kind of stuck onto the bottom, hoping that does the job. But Franke really has a quality undercoating to prevent condensate and sound from affecting the environment. We're showing a couple options here in terms of our double bowl versus single bowl. And really the condo is going to decide that. Some people are looking for the 2-bowl system, whereas others are just looking for an oversized single bowl. That's really a preference item. All these are trending towards the new kind of harder edged, more squared up looking design. Seems to be pushed towards the new standard, but it's important to also still have a radial edge that allows for an easy cleaning surface. So keep that in mind as well when you're going through the product selection from other competitors. But Franke's always going to have the minimum radius for ease of cleaning. Additionally, with the Peak line, this is a composite granite material that's going to be available in a handful of finish options here. So we're showing the matte black, but there's a number of other finish options that have come available in the recent years. So again, if we're taking a kind of short look into some of the options, I'm trying to expand as much as I can in minimal amount of time about what other options might be there. But if you want to have a deep dive on the sinks or deep dive on the faucets, please reach out. We'll be happy to coordinate that. We can bring a Frankie rep in and have a discussion together about all the variety of products that are available if that's something that you're interested in. Finishing off, once we select our sink, we need to pair it with our faucet. Pull down spray handles are really taking over. Almost all products are having this type of option, or at least the family is going to have some sort of option along these lines. With that, our minimum flow is going to be 1.5 GPM, and a number of products are maximizing the flow at that now. We have seen some products that are getting down to that 1.2, 1.0 as well. But with any of the pull handles, what you're looking for to differentiate from one faucet to another is how it retracts, the type of material that's on the retraction hose. So these are nylon supply hoses that are going to be quiet when they withdraw. You're not getting that rubbing that some of the metal braided hoses had in the past. The other options that you're getting are how you're regulating the stream. So switching between spray and stream. And some of the options even have like a misting function. Some other pieces you're going to look to coordinate are the height of the faucet. You never want to get in a situation where maybe you have, your microwave might be above your sink or cabinets above your sink. And if your faucet's too tall, then that can make coordination an issue. So always keep those in mind as you're going through it. The Beal has a couple additional features. So there's options within the Beal family to have a sensor operated window. The one that we're showing here includes the measure fill technology, so you can have a precise fill volume. So if you want to get I believe a liter of water for cooking or anything like that, you can just press the button and fill it up, and it's a precise water volume measurement. The Concerto has been a standard for a number of owner groups over the last probably decade. I was going to say years, but yeah, probably a decade. This has been a top faucet. It's got a great look. Again, a number of variety of finish options. High quality product that's used frequently and everywhere. But again, that's not all of the products that are available in that line of, those brands and all the options available. If you want a deeper dive, we of course can help you set up your own master with your preferred or your owner group's preferred standards. And with that, I'll pass it over to Rebecca to go over some of the amenity spaces.
All right, so some of the shared spaces, which Zach knows is my favorite stuff to talk about. So first, we're going to do some fun stuff, which is your dog wash area. Some of the more, well, I've probably seen it last 5-6 years, just a space to allow your multifamily homeowner to literally, what it says, wash their dog, because that space is just not really functional within their unit. And we kind of pieced together from commercial grade products what could work as a dog wash station. I have worked on a couple of projects where the designer wanted to use these beautiful kind of, I'm not going to call them custom made, but from manufacturers that all they create is dog wash stations, and those are great. The only challenge that have come downstream is on the actual procurement of the product. Your typical Division 22 wholesaler may not know these manufacturers, may not have relationships, don't have the ability to actually purchase them. So just cautionary tale, they look great, they work great, I think, but procurement can be a challenge. So what we tried to do was give you some options on what would be readily available to your contractor, to your Division 22 wholesaler, and that they'll also know so that they can easily install it. So we've kind of come up with two different options: a wall hung version, which would work really well for your smaller animals, and then some floor mounted versions, which work for the more larger size four-legged friends. But you're looking at probably a stainless steel unit, ideally something with a high back to it so that you can deal with any of the splashing that may occur. So we would recommend like a Frankie unit. And then the other kind of two big pieces that Zach kindly reminded me of that you want to consider here is your interceptor and your drains. So from an interceptor standpoint, you absolutely, absolutely, absolutely must have some sort of hair interceptor because guaranteed you're going to see some blockage and the maintenance staff is not going to be happy, and you don't want to, we don't even want to consider that. So you want to consider sizing for the right hair interceptor, well, hair and sediment really. And then at the same time, you're probably going to want to consider some sort of trench drain or larger size drains on the outside, again, because of the splashing and the likelihood that there will be a lot of water that could potentially be on the floor.
And whether you are using a point drain or like we're showing in this one here, a trench drain, you need to ensure that you're looking at a heel-proof grate because obviously you don't want the paws and claws getting through the grate. So just keep that in mind.
Oh, not my stilettos. You're not worried about that?
That's also included in heel-proof.
All right.
I
And of
would
course,
comment as well, since so we launched this dog wash area a few years back, and since then one of the other options that's come up as well has been a wall-mounted 8-inch center set faucet that includes vacuum breakers, and you can put similar to a mop sink faucet and put a little spray handle onto the end of that. That's become a very common option as well. Um, so the other point I would highlight is the grab bar in the back there, and not necessarily a barrier-free design grab bar, but very functional for helping get the dog in and out. As well, we often see you may put like a collar attachment onto that so that you can ensure your pet stays within the wash station.
only a four-legged animal lover would know that type of detail.
Especially one whose dog hates the bath.
Moving on into your locker areas. So depending on the shared space, you might have the gym area separate from the locker room area and the storage space separate from the shower area and the pool area. If they are separate, then whatever storage you decide to use is you have more options and more flexibility. You could go with a metal locker, a plastic locker, based off of your budget. If the shower area and the storage space area are in the same room, very close together, we highly recommend going with a more moisture resistant product, something like phenolic. Uh, and so we would be recommending the Spectrum phenolic lockers, specifically the 2-tier lockers, whether it's a Z tier or Z tier if you're in the States, or a 2-tier. For two reasons. One, because of the way of the sizing of the lockers, the bottom units not only meet accessibility codes, so whether it's barrier free in Ontario or ADA in the States, but it also would work well for any small children that might be using the space. So it's definitely much more universal design. And then again, because of the phenolic material, it will not get any moisture problems because of the showers that are in that area. If the spaces are completely separate, then by all means, I think your offering for storage is opens up a lot more. The other thing that I always like to recommend is a bottle filling drinking fountain. Nowadays, almost everybody, or a good portion of the population, is carrying some sort of reusable cup, water bottle. So we're seeing less and less the need for the actual drinking fountain taps, but it's still a recommendation to have both. Murdoch has a new unit that's out that has a smaller, not the depth of the body is a little, it's not as wide or sticks out as much from the wall. And if you're developer wants to do something really nice, they can also be customized, have special colors, logos on the exterior of it. So depending on their budget, that might be something that might be of value or of interest to either the developer or the architect. And the nice one about this one is it does have a cooler feature that has about 8 gallons per hour of chiller. That should be okay for usage in a condo like this, because you won't see that many people all at the same time. We might recommend something different if we're talking about inside a gym, like an LA Fitness or something of the like. All right, and then in keeping with shared spaces, and I think we did a webinar not too long ago about this, is we do have you do want to consider the heat and the coolness of the shared spaces, and having a unit that can adapt to whatever the temperatures are outside and keeping it a nice climate temperature within the space. So we would recommend something like the Eco Series from Frisco. Again, because each application is different, there are different models. If you're going to use heat pumps, depending on how you're going to heat or cool down the space, there are different variations. So this is just a model. If you have some specific project needs, ATS can always help you find the right unit for your project. And then when we talk about connected solutions, so there's a lot of options that are now out in the market to start with leak detection. So we're going to start with some kind of point of use applications, which is new to the market. The Watts has recently come out with the IntelliFlow washing machine smart water shut off with wall box. Say that 3 times fast. What this unit essentially will do is we'll notice a change in the flow and will physically turn off the water, shut off the water to the washing machine. When there is a leak, you are talking about a potential of 500 gallons of water within the hour. So you can imagine that is not only going to be devastating for that unit, but could also cause problems for the units underneath. So this is a newer product to the market. It can come with the wall box. It can come without the wall box. So again, really what your whatever your kind of design space layout needs are. If you want something that is outside of the washing machine and for the entire unit, as well as for the entire building, there is the leak defense system. This little image on the bottom right-hand corner is meant to showcase the leak detection that can happen within the unit, so that you are checking water usage or potential water leaks in different parts of a unit, as well as in the main plumbing stack and the entire building. So again, it really depends on what you want to do. If you're only focused on the entire building, leak defense has, I think it's considered their tier 1 and tier 2 that are just more unit focused, and then full building would be their tier 3 and tier 4. But we can definitely give you more information and help you configure the right system for your project so that you're keeping both the habitants and the entire building safe. And all of these are Bluetooth enabled and connected, so you can have an app or set up so that you know that there is a water leak and where it is. Other kind of connected solutions that we have that I think we've talked about before, and Zach mentioned last week? We did the A.O. Smith water heating webinar. We have the Cyclone LVBTHL, which are the bigger units. So it's really meant for the entire building. You might need to have a couple of these depending on how many units you have in your space. It does come with the ICOM remote monitoring capability. So again, you can have your building automation system where your leak defense system is connected, where your water heater is connected, and even your Zoller pump, elevator elevator pump connected. The Cyclone LVBTHL also has what they're calling the intelligent demand response, which will sense large water withdrawals and will adjust the water temperature accordingly. And then from a Zoller standpoint, like I mentioned, they also have some of their sump pumps that can be Bluetooth enabled. So this would allow your maintenance staff to know exactly where there is any type of water leakage and turn off the sump pump in this case. Or in the case of all of the other units, kind of know where the leakage is happening so that they can just address it faster.
Well, and actually, I would chime in. So this was one of the first models that Zoller launched with BAS connectivity. The oil guard, was sensing hydrocarbons, and then they tied it into an alarm system that would have the dry ox contact for your BAS. The new Pivot Pro panels from Zoller for the rest of the pump line. So if you're doing your parking spaces, if you have another pit outside that you need to be tying in as well. All the Pivot Pro panels do have dry ox contact and will be able for BAS integration, whether or not you're using a duplex or 3 or 4 floats or a simplex. But this particular oil guard, the product is designed around elevator pits. So the 161 series is going to do a little bit over 50 GPM at 25 to 30 TDH. So it's going to be designed for that elevator vault. And it's a great solution for that not only ensures that your water and faults are being reported, but also ensures that if there is oil or hydrocarbons within that water, they are not being pumped out. And that's really the focus of the oil guard.
All right, Zach, you're going to take it away in the last 11 minutes.
Sure. I'll wrap up there. I think what we want to show next is how you can find these products on there. So while I'm showing you how to navigate the ATS spec system and ensuring everyone has a full understanding of how you can find these products, I'm sure Rebecca will keep an eye on any questions in case they come up along the way. So before we dive in too far, I do want to cover just the general entry. I need to move this. One thing that frustrates me with Zoom is that toolbar when you're sharing screen hides all my tabs. So as I get coordinated, if it's your first time hearing about ATS Spec, just go to atsspec.com. You can sign up for free. Everything from ATS is a free service for the architects, engineers, and design community. It's paid for by the manufacturers that support our system. And that's also why the manufacturers are great about giving us updates on when products have been discontinued so we can share that information with you and keep your specs up to date and current. Before even logging into the service, there's a wide variety of information that's now available. And we're getting more and more on this every day as we build out our blog content and build out our assistance and guides. So if you go into the architects and engineers drop down here, you look at the learning tab, there's our knowledge base, which is going to have sizing guides, how to size a pump, how to size your water heater, and a variety of downloads that you can get to as kind of like quick reference guides. We also have our templates available here. I've got both of those popped open. So if you're looking at the templates, and I'm going to show you how those templates are integrated into the spec system as well. But if you just want to see the templates and you're not looking at the rest of the product selection tool, you can go to this and you can download either the US or the Canadian version, as there's different codes that we have to meet and comply with, and those are designed around that. You have additional downloads. You can download the submittal for any of those. You can download the schedule or the short word spec, and those are all be available. As well as you can click this button, Start a Live Project, where you can then tailor it to your situation. You can download the brochure as well by just clicking either of these. So there's a difference between kind of our more colorful brochure versus the actual template itself. If you want to see any of our previously recorded sessions, I mentioned the electric water heater system presentation that we had last week. We talked about designing for water efficiency with Lixil earlier this month. Or if you are getting into long-term care, like I was showing on the template, we had a great conversation with Presslit on going above and beyond the ADA requirements back in August. So any of our previously recorded sessions are available here. If you wish to have a review of that, those are all available to be watched as well. You can then send me a link and say, hey, I'd like to set this up for my firm, if that's something that you're looking forward to. Once you've logged in, and it's important to note as well, this is a firm login. So you have a firm account where, whether, it's your engineering firm, your architectural firm, and you'll share your projects within your firm. We also have built-in collaboration features, so you can now share across firms. If you're working, together, architect and engineer, you can start a project and work on it together. That's a little bit of a deeper dive. I'm not going to get into that too much today. I'm going to cover some of the basics instead of going into the nitty-gritty details of integration. But keep in mind, this is a firm account that your projects are uploaded to, and you can share across offices and you can share within your team. So you can all work on the projects together. Once you're logged in, right at the top here, we've got 3 different widgets. We've got our quick spec, our project folder, and our masters. Masters is, we've been talking condos today. So if you are working with a particular owner group and you have, 50 condos this year, a couple hundred condos over the next few years, and they're all going to follow a similar design standard. That's what you want to use a master for. You want to select that. We can help you with getting the original masters set up, because those can be, detailed. There can be a couple hundred product selections in there, and it can take a lot of time to get set up and accurate. But we're going to show you how you can get pretty good, pretty quick using our templates as well. From there, you might copy that master into your upcoming project. So you've got a condo coming up 123 Fake Street that you're working on now. That's going to be delivered at the end of the year. You're going to hit new project, and you're going to put in, your project name, your location, so that you get the accurate rules engine. This is going to make sure that if you're building a project in Texas, you get the Texas Ability Standards. If you're building in BC, you get the BC Building Code. Ontario, it's going to have our OBC. We're going to set our bid date. So like I mentioned, if a manufacturer notifies us, hey, this product's been discontinued, make sure you notify any current projects that have this on their spec that they need to look at a new selection. Our system will take care of that, notify you of a change, and I'll be reaching out, or my team will be reaching out to help you reselect the product. We're launching sizing tools in the coming future as well. We're putting in your square footage is going to help us estimate fixture counts so that we can assist and get quicker with sizing. Once you've done that, you can select your application type, which is going to recommend products based on the application. You can even choose one of the templates and just copy the entire thing. And then, maybe you forgot that you've got a 1 o'clock meeting coming up and you need to get a base entry level discussion ready. Or do you want manual? Do you want hardwired? Do you want sensor battery? Then you can have a template, select that, and have that discussion with the architect, and that can be ready in 5 minutes. I'm going to exit it for now, because the last thing, let's again say you have a 1 o'clock meeting, you forgot that you have to discuss a floor drain. You can hit quick spec, we could enter FD, and just find our single item if that's what we're looking for. We can look just for that faucet that we discussed earlier today, the Studio S series, or we could search for that new aspiration shower. This is your single item selection, no rule engine built to it. This is just, hey, I need something fast. This is how I get it. I've gone through and always assumed that, knowing me, I'm going to talk a little long when we get to talking product. So I've already preset a condo sample project here. And one thing I want to highlight is, so I've got no products in my first product group here. This is my condo sample project. This is going to be my condo fixtures. I'm going to type in fixtures. That's going to be the title of this product group. I'm going to show you how, in a matter of seconds, you'll be able to copy from the template into this condo fixtures. But first, I want to show you the other product groups that I've already set up. I've got my drainage and equipment. I copied this from a template earlier ahead of time. I've got all my drainage, my water heaters, various options that I can review and discuss, delete out if I'm going with that leak detection laundry box. I no longer need this basic laundry box. I can delete this and take care of updating and revising as we go. This is actually in the northern climate and I need a non-freeze hydrant instead of my moderate climate hybrid, I can hit this edit button. Upon my first review with my principal or the project manager, they tell me, hey, that we've got to make this correction. I can go through, find my 725, my non-freeze wall hydrant, select my options, and make my simple revision. Now, if I want to go and finish out the fixture category, over here we have our ATS templates, and this is a good time to explain the column on the side here. We've got our projects tab, which is where you're going to find any previously created projects, like I had that condo sample. We've got our masters tab, which is going to show you your firm's masters. So if I click on that, it's going to show, I've already set up this demo account. We've got amenity space masters, we got lab masters, we've got various masters for the mechanical room, etc. These would be, Zach's engineering firm condo master, the products that I use all the time for my condos for my clients, versus the templates, which is our ATS recommendations. And you can see a wide variety of applications here that I can click into my multifamily residential. And I can find my good, better, best, the products that we discussed today. We've got our Vormax toilet, the better, we've got the Growy toilet that we discussed, the best, we've got the high-end DXV. You can see we've got our change rooms, we've got drainage, we've got mechanical, fire protection, we've got our HVAC and our piping and specialties as well. So if we need our PEX piping, we've got that. If we've got that HVAC unit for either the suites with our PTAC or the amenity spaces where we need a larger volume, or the top tower where we've got our cooling tower, the chillers for that as well. We've got bathroom accessories and our amenities. I'm going to go back to that good package at the beginning. I'm going to select all, and I could copy now, or I could just select a single item, or I can go through and say, okay, I don't need that. I don't need that. I'm going to keep the tub, but I don't need this tub. And yes, I'm going to go with that. And I only need the one sink. Okay, copy to, go to my project, search for the condo that I set up previously, or I could hit this plus button and add a new project. I can copy it into a brand new product group, or the condo fixture product group that I showed you we set up before. I'm going to hit copy, and it's going to take those selections into this product group. And that's how I, in a matter of minutes, set up all the other product selections that I've already put into this project. So now if I want to propose a second toilet, I can hit my plus button here. I can search for toilet, and you can see there's little gray pins here. If I'm going to be selecting toilet, that's one of the most common selections I'm selecting on the system. I'm going to pin that so that the next time I come here, it's right at the top, because there's a ton of product that we have available on the site now. You can see all the various products that we have. Of course, you can filter down here for your fire and smoke protection, your access doors, et cetera, but just pinning your favorites is a great process. I'm going to hit toilet. And now once I'm in my category, I have a search option. I can filter down by manufacturer types. So if I want to find that Growy toilet that we discussed earlier, I could either search by model number, or I can filter by manufacturer. I can search for the Growy. And then we've got a 3967, which can be configured to a left or right-hand trip with a variety of finish options on the actuator. I can select the most popular here as well, and it's going to choose the default most popular options. Hit add to product. And with anything on ATS, if there's a number of products that need to come together in order to offer a complete fixture assembly, the system's going to recommend that. So it's going to recommend supplies here. It's not going to recommend a seat because that product comes with a seat. It's designed around it. But you can see I can either hit complete now, not select my supplies. I could skip the supplies. I could delete the supplies, or I can add them in. And this is going to be true if you're doing a universal toilet with flush valve, seat, carrier, backrest, all those other items, then it's going to allow you to add or not add as much or as little as you want. So we've got our toilet in here. I can call this WC option 2. Hit save. I could adjust my sequencing. Lastly, I want to show how we can again go to our templates, go to our multifamily template. And one thing I didn't have in there was an accessories package. You know, I haven't gotten to that part yet. Maybe I need to go to my bathroom accessories and round out the selection for that bathroom. I don't personally know which one I want best. So I've got the good, better, best, and I want to propose this to my architect or assist them as maybe you've collaborated this over. So again, I'm going to search for my condo. I'm going to hit this, and I'm going to check the create new product group. And it's going to copy those into a new product group that then I can customize and tailor to suit my project. Once I'm done, you can either download the products for just this current product group. So I can download just for the current product group, or I can select all drawings and download for every product group in here, or you can download just a single item. So lots of different options for how you want to export this and get the information from our site into your design. Once I've selected this, I can check the box to download the item. Sometimes there's adjustable options within it. So if I go to schedule, I want all my text as caps. I can select the name schedule, select the option for all caps, and then hit the download. I can download my long spec. And again, I could exclude page formatting. I could get my Revit files. And then once I've done that, I can hit generate documents, and it's going to package all of those together. And I see I've already run a few minutes long, and I do apologize to those and thank those that have jumped on and stayed with us so far. You can see all the different details that I've downloaded ahead of time. I'll open up the submittal package here. Oh, I'm not doing that. Should have pre-planned, I guess. So let's look at the schedule instead. The one thing I didn't prepare in advance, Rebecca. And I'm going to move my bar back up top here, because one thing I want to show is that the schedule is, you know, it's not just a configured spec to the actual model number you selected, which is a unique piece in the industry as is. There's not really many options that's going to allow you to download a configured product selection with customized outputs. On top of that, you've got different types of schedule based on the products that are within this. So we've got our backflow schedule and our plumbing schedule. If I went to our drainage and equipment, then I'm going to have a drainage schedule, a water heater schedule. I've got my expansion tank schedule. Everything's different tabs with the most common column headers in the industry. So great product, great part of the product option that we are providing. And you can see all the drainage items, our backflow, and even the plumbing schedule for our anti-scale system in the laundry box. Now, being the fact that we just downloaded probably 100 different product selections with multiple products within it, so probably 150, 200 different product types, it took a minute for it to download, but we've got 15 of 16 product files all ready, and we're just finishing off the last one here. Again, not many options in the industry are going to allow you to download multiple product groups of configured product with customized outputs. From there, I guess the last piece I would note is that it can be time consuming to set up your own individual master. The templates are great. There are recommendations, but there's going to be particular owner groups you're working with that want a particular faucet or particular look to the faucet. You know, one wants squared, one wants rounded. You can set those up. We could copy this and we could duplicate the template master and then tailor it to you. I was doing a meeting just yesterday with a firm down in Texas. They're going to be sending me, you know, their most common selections for a couple of different application types. And then I'm going to have our team build that as a master. You can do this yourself just by hitting the request to build button. And this will take you directly to our spec team and allow you to upload your documents, select the location of the project so we get the right rules, select the outputs that you require back, upload your documentation. So if you need a takeoff done and you need us to size your water heater, size your interceptor, upload the documents, we'll select the sinks for you and then size the interceptor based on them and based on the counts as well. And you can tell us when you need it back so that we make sure we meet your deadline. So that's all available, all within the spec tool, all within the side tab here. With that, I'm going to stop sharing. I tried to be quick, Rebecca, but there's a lot to cover these days. When we have to cover all the different templates, all the different specs, the rules ended on it, there's a lot to cover.
I had to switch to my phone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. I will wrap this up now. I see some people have already jumped off. Thank you for those who've stayed around. So like Zach said, there are a plethora of different ways that we can help you. If you want to see the products that were covered in today's presentation and just download the specs without having to access your account, simply visit atspec.com/templates. And down bottom right-hand corner, you will see multifamily, and you'll be able to see a lot of the products that we covered today. If you have any questions and you want a demo of how to use the templates or how to use a spec tool, atspec.com, book a demo, or there's a little live chat icon on the bottom right-hand corner. That's a way to access myself, other people on our team who can help you navigate the tool. And then, of course, there's these beautiful, lovely faces of ladies and gentlemen that are spread across Canada and the U.S. who are there to help you in person, virtual, depending on the timing. We can see what we can schedule for you. You have Zach, of course. You have Melanie for Quebec and Eastern Canada. You have Mo that covers Ontario, Nat who covers Western Canada, and you have Phil down in California, but that covers most of the West and Central area. If you are outside of that, Zach and myself are always here to help. I don't think I see any questions, but if you do, you have our contact information here. And if you want a recording of this, or you want to see any of the past or future webinars, our events section, you will see all of the previous ones and future ones to come.
Great. Well, thank you very much to all those that stuck around. I understand we ran a little bit long. I do apologize. I'm gonna have to start leaving myself more time because the demo takes a little bit longer as we get more and more features live and updated. Again, if you do want a deeper dive, you want help getting set up, please feel free to reach out. With that, we'll let you enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now, all.
Thank you.